right, hello. For those of you that hadn't watched the update thing that I made yesterday, go watch it. It's kind of important. But I want to talk about music on YouTube as well as do food and recipe shit. So here we are, talking about album of the year and what two albums I think deserve that title for 2020. I wish that the fucking Grammys made any sense. Like, the nominations this year are kind of weird. Like, the one on the screen now, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, is nominated, but the next one I want to talk about isn't, even though it's, like, better than all of the rest of the fucking nominations. But, whatever. Fucking, the Grammys are the place where Macklemore won over Good Kid Mad City, so, you know. Um, Basically, the two contenders for album of the year 2023, even though they both came out 2022, is Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers and The Forever Story. Both of these albums, I'm going to go back to Mr. Morale because that's the image that's down there. Down there, I think. I might be pointing the wrong direction. I don't know. But it's between these two albums for pretty similar reasons. Like, I haven't really reviewed or rated any albums on the channel yet, but just know that if Big Steppers is right here, Forever Story is right here. They are neck and fucking neck in terms of how good I think they are. So, I guess we should start with Mr. Morale. First of all, Kendrick Lamar, like, I should preface by saying that he's, like, kind of my favorite rapper, and by kind of, I mean, like, I have listened to more of his albums than any other artist, period. Um, but, I'm totally normal, so it's fine. Let me pull up my notes. There we go. So, I would probably give, like, overall, this album a 6.5 out of 7. It is an excellent album. Uh, well, why not a 7? We'll get there. But the, like, one of the things to know about the album is just, like, consistency is really the key. Because, like, the way I like to look at albums is I like to look at them as, like, a full experience. Like, from start to finish, it is, well paced. All of the, like, it has ties connecting it to itself. Kind of like a movie. I kind of I kind of go into an album like a movie, where if you go to a movie and it's just a bunch of loose scenes kind of plastered together, it's not going to make any sense. Same with an album, in my opinion. Like, even if those scenes are the best that you've ever seen in your whole life, it's not going to be as good as a movie with a lot of cohesion and good pacing and, like, a full arc that the characters go through. Um, and that's probably the biggest selling point of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Especially in terms of, like, the rest of his discography. This album feels like a logical conclusion, or, like, some kind of end to that saga that spans 5 albums. Um, like, a lot of the themes that are talked about in the lyrics, and, like, even through the skits or, like, the interludes, are all about healing and, like, growing and learning to understand yourself and what you've gone through and how to change yourself and the world for better, um, by introspection and thinking critically about yourself and understanding that while you may have done wrong in the past, that doesn't mean you can't do right now. And that really, this will make more sense once I review the rest of the Kendrick Lamar albums that I've listened to, but that really just is a nice, neat little bow on top of everything that he's kind of done. because all of the rest of his albums have been about this conflicting nature of like, you know, in the example of Good Kid, Mad City, like literally even just the title alone is about how Kendrick Lamar like grew up in such a terrible environment and he was forced to do things that he didn't want to do. Like even in The Art of Peer Pressure, like that whole song is like, you know, normal. Like usually I'm drug free, but shit, I'm with the homies. So like you get like it's all about how you get influenced by the environment that you are in and like how you become a product of that. And then To Pimp a Butterfly is all about having like to deal with all of this fame while still having the like carrying the guilt and the shame and the baggage that comes with growing up in fucking Compton with like so many dead homies and shit like that. Like I know, you know, look at me, but like it's still that kind of message. And then Damn is like even just the title plays into the whole theme of damned if I do, damned if I don't, where most of the songs have like conflicting titles. You know, you go from love to lust, or if you play the album backwards, which you can do, which is fucking insane, you go from lust to love, humble pride, like uh, all of that stuff. And I think this album wraps it all up. It's like, you know, the end of the era, I guess is the way to put it. You know, like it opens straight up with how he comes to understand that other people have different coping mechanisms and like different ways that they sort of wrestle and handle grief. Especially all of the grief that comes with living in such an environment with so much violence and like anger and crime and like paranoia. And then it wraps up with Mirror, where a lot of that song talks about how, you know, he has come to understand that not everybody has the same coping mechanisms, or not everybody kind of approaches that problem the same way. And like, you know, the whole first half really kind of sets up the second half, because it's a double album, to be what it is. Like the first album talks a lot about just the grief that he's experienced, you know, like going back over it, you know, United in Grief, self-explanatory. Worldwide Steppers kind of talks about like his struggles with, not, I don't want to say race relations, but that's the closest thing I can think of. Like his struggles to really understand the concept of race from the perspective that he grew up in. Father Time talks about how, you know, his dad and all of the lessons that he taught him, which came from his own father, set the mood for the rest of his life. He is like he is because of what his father taught him, and how that is both a good thing and a terrible thing, because he's so closed off and he's so distant from his own emotions that he can't even begin to describe them to other people. Die Hard, like the first line in that song talks about like use like taking away all of the pain that comes with taking away just emotional and physical pain with like drugs and alcohol and, you know, other things, just to not be in that headspace. And like it continues, like especially in We Cry Together, fantastic fucking song. It's like if you don't, if you want to get sold on this whole album, listen to We Cry Together with headphones on. Like that song alone is probably one of the best examples of musical storytelling that I could point to ever, because it is a dispute between a man and a woman who are in a relationship, and it is like a musical, like it is an audio landscape that gets painted because you can hear them kind of circle around each other in the room, like you're in the center and you're listening to them argue and fight and yell at each other and like push chairs and scoot tables and throw glass like cups around the room. Or like you can hear how like while the Taylor Page is who did a fantastic job, you can hear while Taylor Page is like yelling at Kendrick and like telling him all of the things that he is at fault for. He is just filling up a cup of water and drinking it like he's completely disinterested. And it ends like it's there's a we'll get there, but like it ends with like somebody saying stop dancing around the conversation, and then immediately goes into Purple Hearts, which sets Kendrick up to understand that all of these things can be fixed. This is not who he is. It is who he like. It is not who he is forever. That's what I get at. And then disc two, Count Me Out is all about like being excluded from so many things for a number of reasons. Crown is an introspection on his own career and how so many people call him like he is the most acclaimed rapper of this generation, and how that is such a stressful title to carry because if you're on top, like literally the line is heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown. Like it is all about how difficult it is, even though you're at the top, to remember that you're still human, and how you, because of your status, cannot escape being human and feeling all of these emotions. Silent Hill, it to be honest, I don't remember. Like I like Silent Hill, but I don't remember most of the lyrics, to be honest with you. Savior, though, is Kendrick Lamar kind of renouncing the title that he's been giving, like that he was talking about in Crown, where, like, especially because if you remember, like in 2020 and 2016, the Black Lives Matter movement, one of their like crucial songs was "All Right" by Kendrick Lamar, which came off of "To Pimp a Butterfly," and how like the whole song is him talking about how he cannot save like the black people or the human race or like the American people or anything like that, because he is just a man. He makes music and he talks about a lot of social issues, but he is just one guy. He can't single-handedly change all of this stuff, and nobody can. Everybody has to work together to do that. And that I think is also like, if you think about it a little deeper, kind of a commentary on how social reform and justice happens in the first place, where it's not the will of a single person or a small group, it's the will of the people, right? AOTY Diaries, which is one of my favorite songs, it's tied for my favorite song on this album, talks about transphobia and homophobia in like the black community and the hip hop industry, which got brought up in Worldwide Steppers and N95, by the way. But AOTY Diaries tells the story of his. He had two transgender family members, one of them his uncle and the other his cousin, his favorite cousin, as he put it, and how like at the it's kind of slow and like really methodical, and it details all of these different things that happened that like were normal to him, but to other people they kind of looked at him weird, or like didn't see it the same way because they had been raised in an environment where that wasn't okay. And like it ends with this build up and this climactic finish where like he refutes a religious leader for trying to blame all of the bad things happening on Earth on his transgender family members. And how, like, literally at the end of the song, it says, "The day I chose humanity over religion," which is just like the whole the whole rest of his fucking discography. He's been talking about God and, like, especially in Damn, you know, like it's a nice wrap up for that too. Then we get to Mr. Morale. Fuck this song. Like, this is high key the worst song on this album. It, like, Kendrick Lamar kind of has a problem where there is one song right near the end of the album that's really out of place. It kind of fucks with the ending. That is this song, and it is the worst example of it in his entire discography. This song sucks. Like, I don't like to skip songs on albums, but if I did, this would be one of them. Like, normally what I like about Kendrick Lamar is he has really good chemistry with his instrumentals, with his beats. Like, he has good lyricism, and all of his beats are good, and he fits with the beats really well because he works intimately with all of his producers and all of his all of the people that help make the album to have the kind of sound that he wants. And, like, he doesn't just, like, tell them what it is, he collaborates. Here, that is not the case. Like, it is the beat for this song is kind of obtuse. It's loud, it's bombastic, and it doesn't really, like, it just kind of sucks. Like, the flow that Kendrick Lamar has is, like, the same kind of shit, just at the same volume, very little variation in pitch. It's bad. If this wasn't on the album, it'd be a better album. Like, I hate to say it, but, like, yeah, that's then Mother I Sober is, like, the depression song on this album, if Auntie Diaries wasn't already, because that had, like, a hopeful ending. Mother I Sober talks about cycles of abuse, and, like, this is kind of, like, really the turning point. Like, this is the big point that we've been building to for this whole album. It talks about, like, the cycles of abuse that people perpetrate, and how there are so many victims in the Black community will perpetrate violence, whether physical, sexual, mental, on each other or on, like, their children, because they don't know how else to feel. They don't know how else to cope. Which, like, brings up a bunch of shit at the beginning of the album, like, Father Time, right at the start. I think is it his wife? I think so. Says he needs to go to therapy, and he says, I don't need no therapy, right? But then at the end, it has helped him understand all of the things that happened to him, and how there are so many other people who could benefit from this, and it needs to be more accessible, and just, like, how, like, oh god, I can't even fucking describe it. It's really good. Really good. And then Mirror, which is my second my tied for my favorite on the album, is just the perfect conclusion. It's bittersweet. It talks about just it's like, how Kendrick has changed and become a better man because of all of the experiences that he went through to make this album. He still feels a lot of pressure. He still is dealing with and tackling and wrestling all of the guilt and trauma and pain that he's went through, but now he is ready to deal. He is ready. He has the tools, and he understands better who he is. So now he can do it. He can go at it with purpose instead of just blindly trying to work it out all in his head. And it's really beautiful. Like, the ending just wraps it all up. Everything is accounted for. Everything is there. It is really, really well done. Especially if you've been a longtime fan of Kendrick Lamar. This is the like this is it. This is the denouement of Kendrick Lamar's work. So why a 6.5 and not a 7? It's because of the title tracks, Mr. Morale and Worldwide Steppers. Both of these songs are kind of bad. I've already talked about Mr. Morale, but Worldwide Steppers isn't as bad, but it's still kind of like, eh. Like I feel like Worldwide Steppers has a purpose at least. Like it is it has it serves a purpose in the overall narrative of the album, and like, it takes us like it's a I don't know. Mr. Morales is like the same. It like has a narrative purpose, but by like introducing the stuff talked about in Mother I Sober and Mirror, like more than it has been in the rest of the album, but it also just sucks. But that kind of just concludes my thoughts on this album. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Definitely go listen to it. If you want to get into rap, or if you already are into rap, then this is definitely something to check out. Now, we go ahead and switch over to The Forever Story by Jid. So, okay, first thing, I will call him Jid, I will call him JID. Either one is correct. It's the same guy. This album is really strong too. Like, it doesn't have nearly as many plays because Jid is kind of like less mainstream than literally the most acclaimed artist or like rapper of our generation, but it still came out this year, so it counts. And a lot of this album, while it doesn't really, it kind of has a similar feel to Mr. Morale, not in the way that like it sounds similar, but a lot of the messaging talked about in this album is similar, because like, a lot of rappers talk about in their music exploring the hardships that they had to face in order to get where they are. And it's different for everybody, but there are some few common threads, like in Crack Sandwich, poverty. Like the whole idea here is like he had 6 siblings growing up, and so like they didn't have money for fucking anything. So like, I don't have time to deal with all of you individually. Take care of yourselves. I don't got cheeseburger money. Make a sandwich. So on. Like, to be honest, I don't have as much of an in-depth review of each individual song for this album, but that's mostly because the production on this album, I feel, is more rich than Mr. Morale. Like, Mr. Morale has really good production, but this one is more singular. Like, it kind of, instead of having a wide range of diverse beats, all of the beats kind of fit within this spectrum of like deep and rich and like throaty bass that I don't even know if that's a real way to describe that, but like it just like it fills your mind and it fills your ears and it brings you into the experience, and Jid is there to help. Like he like a lot of great rappers is like he acts more like an instrument on his own songs than the vocals. Like, the way that he weaves the beat together with his own flow and, like, his lyrics and all of the samples and all of the skits, it all just goes right together into a single immersive experience. Like, this is an album that you can put on, you put on headphones, you lay down in your blankie, all cozy and nice, and you just listen, right? It is a goddamn experience. Like, so many of these songs are really good. Like, especially, like, this part in the middle here, like, going from surround sound to money is, like, unmatched. Like, all of these songs in a row are just really good. but especially like Brudenem, Systenem, and Can't Make You Change is fucking unmatched. Like these three songs are better than some entire albums. Like if it was just these three songs, it would still be a good fucking album. Uh, like, god damn, it is like I can't even describe it. It's just like it goes from describing like it's the relationship between his brothers and his sisters, and then like how they are good and how they are bad and how he has made them better and how he's fucked them up, and then it wraps up with like I can't make you change, you have to do that for yourself. And that is not only him talking to his siblings but also his siblings talking to him, and it's like damn, that is good as hell. One of the problems, or I guess not problems, one of the things to note about the album, this is going to be a plus for some people and a negative for others, is that there are a lot of beats on this album. Like, this album has 16 songs. There are probably about 31 beats, 31 different instrumentals, because like Radar in itself has three. Like System has one that kind of like molds and changes into a different one, so that's two. Can't Make You Change has two. Just in Time has two. Like Crack Sandwich has two. Like Surround Sound has two. Cody Blue 31 has two. 2007, which like definitely listen to the extended version of this album, because like without 2007, this album's ending is kind of weak because Lauder 2 is not a very good ending song. 2007 is definitely better for that. 2007 by itself has like 6 or 7 beats. Like it is, there are so many beat switches and beat changes that like if you want to just go into a song and like groove out to a single thing, this might not be for you. But if you do, like if you are interested in like beat switches and how a single song can sound so different at the start and the end, then you might like you should definitely check this out. Like again, plus for some, minus for others. I don't really know how I feel about it personally. Like I think some of the songs could have done with just the one beat. Like personally, Can't Make You Change, the first beat is so leagues better than the second beat that it's kind of hard to justify having it in the first place. But you know, like God. Ugh. Overall, Jid has amazing flow, amazing beats. They weave into each other very well, and the production is fantastic. But the ending can be weak, and there are some songs on here that really just like Can't Punk Me, kind of sucks, and like near the end, it kind of just like Just in Time is all right, Money is pretty good. Better Days, I don't even remember, and Lauder 2 is just like Lauder 2 at the start is kind of obtuse and like just loud. Like you have to really push through the first part of Lauder 2 to get to the really good part. But oh yeah, also I should mention my favorite song on this by far is System M. Like it is a fantastic exploration of how family dynamics can be affected by careers, and how like family not talking to each other is like a blessing and a curse, and just like go listen to that fucking song, man, it's so good. But so now the question becomes, why do I think that these albums are right here? Why are they neck and neck? Because I think they are pretty similar. Not the same, but they are similar albums, right? Like, song near the beginning and song near the end that kind of Same with Mr. Morale. The chemistry between the rapper and the beats is really good. The production on both is amazing. And there are certain, like, song runs in each album that are really just right. But I think the reason why they are this close, both are a 6.5 out of 7, is just like it is hard to choose which one I like more. I think other people will probably have this decision easier than me because some people prefer different things in rap. Like some people prefer more singular focus. Like if you listen to fucking 21 Savage, you probably are gonna like Forever Story more. Or but if you listen to J Cole, you're probably gonna like Mr. Morale more. Not like definitely, but probably. So it really just comes down to personal preference. I think if either one of these gets rap album of the year or even album of the year, I will not complain. Like sadly, the Forever Story is not nominated um, for the Grammys 2023, but Mr. Morale is. And I would definitely prefer that would win over fucking Jack Harlow. Come home, the kids miss you. But yeah, I would definitely say to check these two out. If you are not like, if you haven't really gotten into rap, definitely try Mr. Morale first. If you have gotten into rap, or if you are more into like R&B and stuff, definitely start with Forever Story. Both of these albums are worth your time to listen to. They have a lot of songs that are really just, oh, they're so good. Definitely check them out. One thing also I want to say about Forever Story that doesn't really count for the album. Let me make it bigger. Look at the fucking cover art on this thing, man. Like, you could see, like, I can't really, like, point at, I can't really point at all of the different things. But there's so much happening on this cover art. Like, you can see, like, Jid is right in the middle, and then, like, over here, like, down here, you have, like, a pimp talking to a bunch of, like, women, and then you got like two guys fighting over a ball and like this guy watching. You got two prison inmates, you got a football guy, you got like, I presume that's his whole family. Then on the other side you see like a cop pointing a gun at a guy, and like another guy is like filming him, and there's a body bag being filled, and like a family grieving, and like there's a guy playing basketball, and like a mother and a daughter, and like she's trying to protect it. Like there's so much happening on this album or album cover. I didn't really like it at first, but then I looked more into it, and like there's a lot going on, and I really like it. Like this paints a picture, this tells a story by itself. But that was pretty much the review. They both get a big thumbs up from me. Must listen award. Hopefully you guys are looking. Jesus Christ, this video is 30 minutes. Hopefully you guys look forward to more album reviews in the future. I should also say whether or not these are album of the year depends on what SZA drops in December, but we'll get there. Let me know what. Let me know if you have any albums you want me to review in the comments. I'm always, looking for more music to listen to. I already have a huge backlog. Like, if I made one of these videos every day for, like if I made one of these videos every day, it would take me, like, 6 months of nonstop videos to get, like, to finish all of them. And like that's why I'm kind of lumping these two into one video. But yeah. Let me know in the comments if you have any albums you want me to listen to, or any you want a review on, or if you want to share your own opinions, anything like that. Always appreciate it. And appreciate y'all for watching. This is my first foray into album reviews on YouTube. So hopefully I get even better from here. So yeah. See you guys in the next one. Woo!